Hey everybody, welcome to Library Bracket Debates, episode 2. Our first episode was last month where library staff members here at the Garland County Library debated the best genres in fiction books, nonfiction books, and movies. So go back and watch that episode after you watch this one if you missed it. But today we're going to be discussing Star Wars. And you'll be watching this in late May. We missed the deadline for May the 4th be with you on May 4th, but if you're a Star Wars fan, you don't care. It didn't have to be right on May 4th, but we're going to discuss today the very best Star Wars movies and the best Star Wars characters and determine based on the 4 people you see sitting here what the best movie and character is in the entire franchise. So please give us your feedback. Let our staff know if they were completely wrong or completely right, or if we just didn't even discuss your personal favorite. But just be somewhat nice. I know this is a controversial topic, but just be respectful when you're debating our library staff, and hopefully they'll be respectful today. But things might get a little heated. But first of all, I want to welcome our 4 staff members today, and then we'll go over the format. I want to have you guys introduce yourselves, talk about what you do at the library, and why you're a Star Wars fan, why you're participating in this podcast. Let's start with our director, Adam Webb.
Paul's already done 2 parts of my intro. I'm the director. My name is Adam Webb. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I've actually been sitting here watching the screen thinking that the glow around Paul reminds me a bit of a Force ghost.
Yeah.
By kind of practical effects back then. But just a big fan and love the franchise, love everything about it.
I'm Butch. I'm the design and facilities manager here. Lifelong Star Wars fan, grew up on it. I can remember getting the toys when I was really, really small. I guess the first one that came out whenever I was alive would be a Return of the Jedi. Just enjoy the shows, enjoy the series. I like to make stuff from Star Wars. I really like the aesthetic and the challenge. And so I usually am working on some kind of Star Wars project.
I don't know if you want to go first or not.
Okay, fine. I'm Nathan, and I'm the networking assistant, and I've been a huge Star Wars fan for a long time. Funny enough, my mom and dad's first date was actually the first movie the day it came out. That was interesting, and they fell in love with Star Wars, so that passed on to me, I guess. But I love the Clone Wars. That was probably one of the first biggest pieces of Star Wars material I got into, and then obviously all the movies and war and everything too.
So my name's Jessamine, and I'm the marketing assistant. I do a lot of the social media that you guys probably see. I became a Star Wars fan when I was about 17, but I grew up with my brother watching it and not understanding anything. I think that over the years, as we've seen it kind of grow, and then the new trilogies came out, and then all of the shows that have come out with it, it's a really good world to kind of get lost in. And that's one of the big things that I enjoy about it is like the aesthetic, and that there's so many different storylines that you can kind of follow with Star Wars.
And I'm Paul, and I am nowhere near as big of a Star Wars fan as any of them are, mainly because, not because I wouldn't like Star Wars, but I've seen the 3 trilogies, but I haven't seen any of the other content, and it's not because I wouldn't like it, but it's because I know I would get really deep into the fandom, and when I become obsessed with a fictional universe, I go all in, and then I just don't have time to read all the books and play all the video games, because that's what I would do once I finally take that jump and go into the next level of Star Wars content. So I'm also going to be the tiebreaker today, so you don't want me to be the tiebreaker because I'm not as knowledgeable as you guys, so try not to tie. But there's 4 of you, so it's probably going to happen at some point. So I'm going to do a gut reaction if there is a tie. And so that brings me to our format, which is a bracket. This is the challenge website where I've made brackets for the topics at hand. For movies, this was seeded based on their Rotten Tomatoes score. And the movies category is going to be double elimination. So your favorite movie will have a second chance if it loses and gets sent to the losers bracket. But here's the first bracket we're going to be discussing. You guys are going to discuss each matchup and then give me a vote. And so we're ready to get started. You have any questions before we do? Okay. Well, our first matchup is in round one. It's going to be Solo, a Star Wars story, or The Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, it's Han Solo's own movie. Like,
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, when the preview came out for Solo, it looked like it wasn't gonna be that
Mhm.
great. Like it looked pretty bad. But then watching that in theaters was
Mhm.
I saw both of them in theaters, but Solo hit different for me.
Yeah, the Solo, it ended up getting kind of hamstrung because it was taken away from the original directors like halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the guys who did the Lego movie, I think?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that they were doing it and they were like, yeah, we want your own personal take. But then I guess they started doing that and they were like, no, not like that. And then they were giving it to Ron Howard, which just basically, he's a good director, but he pilots stuff nice and safe right down the middle. And so I feel like it kind of got hamstrung. It could have been a little better than it was, just, that many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, I liked Solo a lot, but the story was kind of paint by numbers.
Yeah.
All it was really doing was filling in the gaps of all the things that you knew happened in Han Solo's life.
Right.
You knew he was going to meet Chewbacca, and you knew he was going to win the Millennium Falcon from Lando Calrissian,
Mhm.
and you knew he was going to do the Kessel Run.
Yeah.
And, that said, there was a lot to enjoy in that movie. I thought Jonas, I think that's how you pronounce his name, the actor who plays Chewbacca now, I thought he did a great job.
That was his first one, right?
It was his first acting role. And I thought that Han Solo was pretty good. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I haven't watched it more than the one time I went and saw it in the theaters.
By the end of the Rise of Skywalker, I was really ready for it to be over. Like I feel like the ending for me, it kind of fell apart, whereas like Solo, we do know what to expect, but it's like it's fun getting there. And I love Donald Glover. I love Donald Glover as Lando. And I don't know, I think that I had more attention on Solo than I did by like the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I liked the aesthetics of Rise of Skywalker more. I feel like it was a really pretty film.
Oh yes.
But as far as like picking one of them, I would have to do Solo.
For me, like The Rise of Skywalker was it was kind of like a repeat for a lot of things that had already happened in the series, just in a different way, like in terms of its story. But as Desmond said, I really loved the aesthetics of the movie. Like it was very good, and it was also very well animated for the most part, except for some of the fight scenes were kind of strange. But and I think the characters could have been a little bit better written. Definitely. But I mean, I had always wanted a movie or a show or something dedicated to Han Solo. So he was always one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. Like, that's just all there is to it. So yeah, I would have to go for Solo as well.
That's two for Solo. Adam or Butch, you gonna make it a win, or are we gonna?
I'm gonna push for Solo as well, just on the fact that Rise of Skywalker was the movie that delivered us the line, somehow Palpatine returned, which is just really wonderful story writing.
Yeah. I walked out of Solo going, oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was entertaining. I walked out of Skywalker saying, what just happened?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Solo was better than a lot of people expected because whoever did the cuts for like the trailer for it did not do it justice whatsoever.
They did not.
So that was unanimous. So we're moving on. Rogue One or the Clone Wars?
Rogue One.
Yeah, so Rogue One, unlike Nathan, the prequels don't hold up for me. Like I hate the prequels. I am not a fan of them. I can appreciate them, but I think Rogue One did it.
And just so I'm clear, we're talking about the animated feature.
Animated. Yeah.
I'm lost.
Oh,
So actually, still Rogue One. I was lost thinking about.
I was
The
gonna say, because
prequels?
technically in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, there was a movie for it that came out before the series. Are we talking about that movie, or are we talking about the whole series?
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about feature-length films.
The feature-length film, the movie, yes.
Then yes,
Okay.
absolutely. It doesn't change my calculus at all. But Star Wars: The Clone Wars it's one of the worst things that humanity's ever created.
You noticed it is the last seed out of these 12 movies.
Yeah, it is.
Surprising.
Alright. So next we've got episode 3 or episode 2, Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, that's
Well, episode 3's got some pretty good quotes.
It does have some pretty good quotes. The famous quote of Darth Vader just saying no for about
Yeah.
2 minutes straight.
I mean, you also have like the epic, fight scene between Obi-Wan and,
Yeah.
Which one had the
And, like-
sand? The top one. Like, I hate sand.
Oh, that
It's
was
the worst.
That
Yeah.
was. I think that was episode 2.
Yeah.
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 I feel like there was more action in episode 3.
Oh, yes.
And that was a big deal for me when I would watch it with my brother.
Mhm.
Like, I could pay attention to that better because there was so much going on.
Yeah.
But we just recently rewatched the prequels, and I feel like Revenge of the Sith for me.
I would have to agree. Like, I liked Attack of the Clones for what it was, but not necessarily all in all.
Revenge of the Sith moves on. All right, this one should be easy, but Return of the Jedi or The Phantom Menace?
Return
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Discussion.
There's no discussion.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay, so the Phantom Menace, I was 19, 20. It was the first real movie that I ever camped out for because it was the first new Star Wars. And, I worked at a bookstore, and so we had just been devouring everything that was possibly coming through. We were out there at Walmart the day that the toys dropped, just buy whatever you could, and we watched it. And we camped out, we got our tickets, we saw episode 1, and it was about 2 weeks before any of us really talked about it. And I can't remember, but one of us was the first one to be like, I don't know if that was a good movie or not. And
Yeah.
When we admitted it, we were like, okay, all right, let's have a discussion on this. But that's what I
There was
remember.
too much time. There was too much time spent on pod racing.
Yeah.
Like, that's what got me with it, was just there's so much pod racing.
Yeah. I think the one good thing that actually came out of like the Phantom Menace was just Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Like seeing
Darth
him on
Maul was
screen.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like the one thing that I always remember from that movie, besides the pod racing, because it was like a lot of the movie. But
Darth Maul has some of the best fight scenes.
yes,
Yeah,
I mean,
Duel of Fate.
character.
Yeah, the soundtrack as well as the fighting was. It's iconic.
Yeah. I was like the soundtrack in the Phantom Menace was probably some of my favorite music from Star Wars, actually. Besides probably the Force theme. Like, yeah.
This movie discussion is double LM, so The Phantom Menace will have another shot.
Okay.
See what movie it goes against in the losers bracket. But now we have Empire Strikes Back or Solo.
Empire.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
that's another one. It's just
I mean,
go
yeah.
and
We
discuss.
were waffling on whether Solo was better than The Rise of Skywalker or not, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Empire Strikes Back, #1 seed based on Rotten Tomatoes. We'll see if you guys agree in the end, but it's definitely a front runner.
Okay.
All right, The Last Jedi or Rogue One?
so this is for me. I don't think it's all that hard. I loved Rogue One.
Yeah.
It
I
was
honestly, I agree. Rogue One I loved seeing the immediate before of
Yeah.
just everything, like really like what started Star Wars. Like that was very interesting to watch. And obviously like they brought back some characters that were like Saw Gerrera, that had already been in other media before, but not necessarily. I don't think he had ever been in a movie before that. So seeing a lot of the build up to the Death Star and everything, and like what it really was, and what they had to go through to get the plans, and all of that was actually very, very interesting to me.
I still feel like
Oh, go ahead, Jennifer.
I was gonna say I still feel like Rogue One would win here for me, but again, like the aesthetics and just the cinematography and the newer trilogy it's so good, even if like there's pieces of the movie that kind of, you're like,
Yeah.
But Rogue One, for overall, like how it looks and the story, and it's so, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of unmatched with this.
Yeah, with like The Last Jedi, like I love Ryan Johnson. I love everything that he's ever done. And then whenever I see The Last Jedi, I can see parts of him. I can see little bits of Brick and little bits of Looper and little bits of the stuff that he's done. But it just really feels like he had a lot of notes that were passed his way. Just be like, well, maybe we should do this and maybe we should do this. And then, of course, there was no overarching plan to that.
Right.
And then I think of Rogue One, and just the one part that always sticks out to me is just the sound of terror when the guys are pounding on the door in the capital ship saying, please help us. Somebody please help us, as Vader is working his way down that hallway, just hearing them scream. And it's just like, oh my God. And then just when the guy dumps through the door and screams out launch.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that movie is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rogue One.
Rogue One it is. Was that unanimous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next we've got The Force Awakens or Revenge of the Sith. It's your first pause.
Yeah, The Force Awakens for me is, I like it, but also it had been so long since we had Star Wars content, at least Star Wars content that I like, but it was very much a, hey, you remember Star Wars, right? You remember all the cool stuff? Well, here's this, and here's this, and hey, look, it's this thing that you like. So it was very much a re-onboarding. So it was kind of cheating, and it was also a completely retelling of the first movie.
Yeah.
But I do like it.
Yeah, this is a good one for me too. There's enough to like in both of them to give it a vote, but I'm not gonna jump over any hurdles to watch either one of them either.
Yeah, I can see why you say that. I feel like I actually just recently watched The Force Awakens like only a week ago, because I watched it in theaters, and then when I went back to remember what had actually happened in the movie, I was like, I don't remember a lot of like the in between stuff. I just remember the major details in the movie. So, but I mean, just it's like Butch said, when there was a lot of just going back to the original, to A New Hope, and I mean, it was good. I liked the way. Well, I like what they did. Maybe not the way they did it.
I think I'd have to say The Force Awakens, only because that was the first Star Wars movie that I had seen in theaters. I was amped up about it. And for me, like I said earlier, like the prequels don't do anything for me. I do like Revenge of the Sith the most out of them. But The Force Awakens was experiencing like the Star Wars fandom in full swing, because before that had come out was when I got into Star Wars, and then that's like my first big like theater experience for it. So for me, The Force Awakens gets it for that reason.
I'm gonna have to go for Revenge of the Sith, honestly. Like, I don't know, the making of Darth Vader. That's all there is to it for me. Yeah, I mean, I just like that background story. For the other two movies, probably could have just not existed for me. Like, I guess it would be more like a Rogue One. Just the seeing what happened to Anakin Skywalker for Darth Vader to become a thing. So, yeah, I'm going Revenge of the Sith.
Adam and Butch, final answers.
I can see what you're saying about like Revenge of the Sith with Vader, because it was the culmination of seeing he was, for better or worse on the writing, he was a person, and then you just did to see everything stripped away, and you're like, oh, so that's why he's an engine of hate in the other movies. And then, of course, then the Emperor is like, yeah, I'd chuck him into a fuel pit at the end. But yeah, I'd have to go Force Awakens.
Whoa, Paul got happy.
Okay, Mr. Weighted.
Yeah. I'm going to make you do some heavy lifting, Paul. I'm going to put my vote towards Force Awakens.
Okay.
It's picking the best of a bad three story book in both movies. So I like them both about as much, or dislike them least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree that they're each the best of their respective trilogies. I don't know if everyone here agrees with that, but
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I it might be the recency bias, but I'm gonna go with The Force Awakens. I haven't seen Revenge of the Sith since it came out in the mid 2000s. It did have that really excellent action scene, and it didn't have the middle child syndrome of Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's
The Force Awakens. I think it
It's so
was very promising, more promising beginning than Revenge of the Sith was a conclusion to its respective trilogy. All right, so A New Hope or Return of the Jedi?
well, that is hard.
Puffy.
Return of the Jedi was my first Star Wars movie, but I don't know. Some of the later stuff started to kind of creep into that. Like you could feel the prequels gestating in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Just a little percolation. And honestly, A New Hope, it's good, but it's not great. It's what happens when Lucas is at the best of his writing and directing abilities, which aren't all that great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put my vote towards A New Hope.
Oh.
Just for kicking the whole thing off. It's gotta move it on for me.
Yeah, I'll put with No Hope too. It really is. It's the start.
I like Return of the Jedi, I think, more than A New Hope. For me, it was such a great way to tie up those movies. And I don't know, I love seeing the Ewoks. The Ewoks are my favorite part of Star Wars, and I will die on that hill. But like, just something about that movie, I could watch Return of the Jedi like over and over, and like just enjoy it every time the same amount and not get tired of it. So for me, it's Return of the Jedi.
I will say I think Return of the Jedi might be the funniest of all the Star Wars movies. Like
that might be part of why I like it so much too. Is like it has a lot of, for me, it has personality, you know?
Yeah.
And like
It feels like high adventure.
yeah.
Stuff like, come on guys, look what we're doing here.
Nathan?
Oh no. I kind of want to just punt an Ewok. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I hated the porgs. I would punt a porg so fast.
Like, it's kind of hard to decide this because it's like you either got the one that started it or the one that ended it in a way.
Yeah.
But I like the start of Star Wars better than the end in terms of Return of the Jedi, so I will have to go with A New Hope. I do think that Return of the Jedi definitely has its place in the trilogy, though. Like, I like the movie. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion.
Well, I have the losers bracket. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Well, speaking of the losers bracket, we're going to get through around to that. Let's try and blast through these.
So in the losers bracket, are we trying to choose who's the worst?
No, you're choosing the better one. This is the second chance bracket. Okay. Whoever you don't choose is eliminated out of the bracket.
Okay. Return of the Jedi.
Jedi.
Thank you.
Jedi. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, this can't be an actual.
this will go quickly. Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, Sith.
Yeah, I would still have to say Revenge of the Sith.
Last Jedi, I think.
I'd say The Last Jedi because it does have Luke, and you got the whole brush thing off, brushing his shoulder off, and
that fight scene was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, Yeah,
The Last
the Last Jedi. Yeah, I like that fight scene. That fight scene was very good.
Since this is the final time we'll see Attack of the Clones, am I the only one that thinks of it as like great value, Two Towers as the middle?
I mean, it kind of is. I said something along those lines when we just rewatched it.
That is one way of putting it.
Yeah.
Solo or Phantom Menace?
Solo.
Solo.
for me.
So
Yeah, Solo.
Any final words for Phantom Menace?
Too much pod racing.
I mean, just
we
No
got
more
to
pod
see
racing.
later. It's fine.
yeah.
Actually, we got to see him in Solo, so you
It's what
know.
happens when
Oh, yeah.
they'll finance your movie and no one can tell you no.
All right. Now let's move back up here. We got Empire Strikes Back or Rogue One.
This is a tough one for me.
Yeah,
Because
this is a tough one for me.
I'm going to vote for Empire Strikes Back, but it's brilliant, but I like Rogue One, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
Empire Strikes Back is a better movie. I think I like Rogue One.
I've watched
The best.
Rogue One more. Empire is my favorite Star Wars movie, but I've watched Rogue One more.
Yeah.
I had recently watched all of the prequels and also like the main trilogy, and I'm actually just not watching like the sequels right now. But I still think I would actually have to go with The Empire Strikes Back as well, even though I've probably seen Rogue One more, but maybe not by will,
Yeah.
because my family really likes the movie, so we've always watched it probably at least once a year. But yeah, I would have to go with Empire Strikes Back. I mean, I like Hoth. I love that.
What was your verdict, Butch? Or do you want to stall and let Justin talk?
For me, it's a really close tie,
Yeah,
but
it's not easy.
Empire. The only reason why I would pick Empire is nostalgia,
Yeah. That's,
just some key pieces and key stuff. But
Yeah.
if we're going on which one I like more, then I'd probably have to Empire with an asterisk.
see, for me, I think Rogue One, because The Empire Strikes Back, it is really good, but I feel like I liked Rogue One more.
I
It's
do.
also newer to me.
I
but-
vote you, but I just can't not vote for Empire.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I have a Darth Vader tattoo and I'm not picking Empire, so I feel like I'm selling out a little bit. But
I mean, hey, I mean,
Rogue One
Rogue
was
One,
so good.
yeah.
It was
So good.
so good.
it was beautifully crafted.
Yeah.
Rogue One will return in this discussion. But next we have Force Awakens or A New
I
Hope.
don't know who's winning.
New Hope.
New
New
Hope.
Hope.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. No.
Yeah, well, they're basically the same movie, but one came out first.
Yeah, one-
One did it first, basically.
All right. The losers bracket, Return of the Jedi or Revenge of the Sith.
Return
Return of the Jedi.
And
Sounds great.
The Last Jedi or Solo.
Oh God, what kills it? What would kill it for me on The Last Jedi is that the pointless casino planet
Yeah.
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 That's
ruined that
Well, that
movie. for me.
and Carrie Fisher coming back from the dead.
yeah, and that was the other thing, is like they pandered a little bit
Yeah.
with
Cool, but
The
they
Last
just didn't crack. Which is, but also one of the coolest moments in any Star Wars movie is from The Last Jedi with the Holdo maneuver.
yeah.
I thought that was
Oh,
in.
yeah.
No, that's an 8.
It's an 8.
Yeah, they reference it in 9, but yeah, where just everything goes silent and it just hyperdrives through
That
a
is a
fleet
cool
of
scene,
ships, and
yeah.
you hear that kang. Yeah, that's a cool moment. Oh,
But I do think Donald Glover as Lando's got
yeah,
it's going to carry the day for me.
yeah.
With
I'll-
my,
Yeah.
Also,
That's kind of where I'm sitting too.
Yeah.
Is like, I don't know. I really enjoyed Solo, even though it was kind of goofy and it was kind of cheesy and it didn't make sense sometimes. Like, it was still fun.
It was so engaging. That was the
Yeah.
other thing too, though. I mean, The Last Jedi had its moments, I will say, but I think Solo for me was just a more enjoyable watch. Just period. So
Solo had a couple of really good actors in it too.
Yeah.
I mean, The Last Jedi does too, but
Thandaway Newton was wasted in that movie, but apparently she had a lot more to do, but they cut her part a lot.
yeah,
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, we do get Woody Harrelson. He can always, yeah.
All right, let's do a voice vote. What we got?
Solo.
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 Solo. Somebody
All
had to choose Jabba.
Rogue One or Return of the Jedi?
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Goodbye. Any final words for Return of the Jedi?
Yup,
You
nub.
walk to the best. No one can talk me down off of that hill.
I will disagree with what she just said.
Force Awakens or Solo?
Solo for me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Solo again.
So,
Yeah.
Is Solo the actual winner of this? Like, it's winning the losers bracket pretty easy.
I don't know. I would.
We're down to our final four. We've got the two Star Wars stories on the anthology end, and then two classics, episode 5, episode 4.
Empire Strikes Back. Or
Empire.
New-
It's gonna be Empire for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I have to say Empire Strikes Back. I just
It's
just
just
why I enjoy that.
It's gonna be me saying A New Hope, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna have the lesser opinions on these.
Lucas is a great story man and concept guy. He is not a great writer. He's not a great director.
Yeah.
That's
So
just
this is for fourth place, whatever loses. Rogue One or Solo?
Rogue One.
I would have to say Rogue One. I love that movie so much.
Me too.
I'm gonna have to go home
I
and
mean,
watch
Solo was good. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, Butch just brought up a good point. Of all the movies we've been talking about so far, like Rogue One's the one I want to go home and watch.
yeah, yeah.
And it's only gotten better because Andor is so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I still haven't watched Andor.
Really.
I
Oh,
still haven't. James keeps saying
It's kind of
it.
slow in the start, but it gets good.
Yeah.
Well, Solo out in fourth place. That's a good placement for the 8th seed. Did you see the second highest seed based on Rotten Tomatoes was The Force Awakens? And obviously you guys completely disagreed with the critics on that.
Yep.
And it seems like probably if we went by audience score, it'd probably be a lot lower. All right.
Darth Vader is one of the top movie villains of all time. I think he ranks at like number 3,
Yeah.
and it's because of The Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is for third place, A New Hope or Rogue One.
Rogue
Stick-
One is better to me.
I'm sticking with Rogue One
Yeah.
as well.
Rogue One is
Yeah.
a better movie.
Honestly, for me, like I'm saying Rogue One too, but like I like seeing the before more than the during. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah, because it gives you more depth to like
Yeah.
what was going on.
Well, it was the first time they also did a prequel that wasn't
Mhm.
jam packed with, "Hey, this is where this came from. Hey, this is where
Yeah.
this came from." It
It
was
slowly gave that to you.
And it also gave its own story though too. Like you weren't already following a character set path.
Right, and there's one movie and you get attached like deeply
Yes.
to all of those characters. It was just, I don't know. I don't feel like you can touch Rogue One.
It's hard.
All right. A New Hope. The place where it all started, out in third, pour one out for A New Hope. And now we have finals. We have classic versus modern. Empire Strikes Back for Rogue One.
For me, it's still Rogue One.
Oh God.
I am also going to vote for Rogue One.
Ooh.
I just like Darth Vader too much, man.
He's in Rogue
Like,
One.
he's-
His best
Who's in
moment-
Rogue One?
Yeah, for like
It's
5
just talking
seconds.
about
Most
like,
afraid.
Yeah, maybe a little longer than that, but
why
like
everyone is terrified of the man.
I was gonna say like that's one of the best scenes too, though. Even though he's not in it for very long,
Yeah,
it's still.
yeah, it's definitely one of the most iconic scenes.
I refuse to be a tiebreaker here, so you guys have to.
I'm just gonna go ahead. Yeah, Rogue One.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm Rogue One, honestly.
Solid with cloud.
Darth Vader's disappointed in you, Nathan.
Wow. Okay. Well- On paper, that's an upset, but You guys happy with your decision?
Yes.
Yes.
First one, best Star Wars movie of all time, so far at least. Empire Strikes Back in second place. All right, well, let us know.
I think I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
At least you got second. But-
Yeah, I feel okay.
So we're about to move on to our other bracket, which is the best character bracket. But before we do, what would you guys say is the best Star Wars content that wasn't listed here in this films bracket? So Disney Plus shows or any other media?
Andor.
So I haven't seen Andor, so I would say Mandalorian. This last season for me was like it picked up at the end, but Mandalorian I like watching it because of how pretty it is, but also I feel like they do a good job of kind of spacing it out a little bit without it being too much in one episode.
I really liked Star Wars Rebels as the animated series. Like I don't know why I enjoyed that series so much, but like I still rewatch the whole thing pretty often. But
Mandalorian is wanting me to get to. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Rebels, but it's making me want to go back and find out more. Because I usually just have to up web for questions like, "What was this thing in this episode?"
Mandalorian was what got May interested in Star Wars. Like we were watching the ending of season 3, and that like sparked something in my kid that was like, what's this about? What's this? And like we're answering questions, and we started watching the original trilogy with her, and she enjoys it, and that's really cool for me because that's also why Mandalorian's gonna be mine, because that opened that up for her. So I think that's neat.
I would
I'll
have
give
given Star Wars Rebels for
a
me.
shout out to Jindy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. It's something not a lot of people have seen, but
Yes.
they were these 2-minute vignettes on Cartoon Network around the time that the prequels were coming out.
Mhm.
And they were written by the incomparable Jindy Tartakovsky, who did Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls,
Mhm.
all those iconic animated shows. And they were just phenomenal. Most of them are silent, no dialogue, but you get to see clone troopers being good at their job. And you get to see Mace Windu just laying waste to
Yes.
General Grievous actually makes sense in the light of those cartoons because he kind of stinks in the movies. Like, he doesn't really do anything, but he has a bunch of lightsabers.
So he killed a bunch of Jedi.
Yeah. But then when you find out he gets like force crushed by Mace Windu, and that's why he's not so good in the movies, because
Yes.
animated
He's
Samuel L. Jackson almost turned him into a Coke can.
What was the one on Disney Plus that it was different art styles, but it was kind of like it was looks at different characters, some of their backstories. Like I think Count Dooku was in some of them before he,
Oh, that was the
I forget what that was called. We watched that and it was good.
it was only like 6 episodes, right? It
Yeah,
was really short.
There was that one, yeah, and then there was one that had different art styles, and I can't think of what it is. If I had Disney Plus on my phone, I could.
I think you're talking about Visions.
Yes, it was Visions.
Yeah.
I liked Visions a lot just because of the art changes, and it's like different kind of short stories going on. I thought that was neat. It's not my favorite, but I thought it was neat.
Coming out, and it's got the guy who did Wallace and Gromit did the stop motion episode.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was the same guy. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Though.
All right, our second and final bracket is pretty intense. It's the best character bracket, and this one's going to be single elimination because if it was double elimination, it would take hours.
Yeah.
I narrowed it down to only 33 characters. Could have been 100 plus, but
Yeah.
cherry picked 33 characters. This is seeded based on a mix of screen time across the entire franchise, as well as some existing online popularity polls. But what matters here is what you guys choose. So
Okay.
our first matchup, Count Dooku or Grand Moff Tarkin. And remember, once they're out, they're out. They get one chance.
Count Dooku. Twin Tyrannus.
Oh, well.
I mean, I like Tarkin,
Yeah.
even though he was kind of
Yeah, I guess he's just like a military.
yeah.
I
Which
think.
also best scene, Rogue One.
Yeah.
Right.
I think for me, it's also going to be Count Dooku.
I do like Christopher Lee.
Yeah, well, I'll put a third vote behind Count Dooku.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with that. He has more to do
Yeah.
than just being a military bureaucrat.
All right. And one thing to consider for all these characters, you're thinking of the character's entire arc. So, like in the case of Darth Vader, that includes Darth Vader as Anakin and Darth Vader as Darth Vader, or Anakin, So their entire arc, we're considering that as one character. So speaking of which, our top seed.
Darth
Vader.
I knew as soon as what he was talking about.
All right. Kylo Ren, Emperor Palpatine.
Oh, Palpatine.
Yeah.
I mean, Palpatine, like, even in the prequels, he was Palpatine. Yeah, do it.
I expect great
It's
things.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
Unlimited
Chewbacca.
Yeah, it's got to be
Sorry.
Chewbacca. Much as
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Chewbacca is iconic.
Yeah. I like Cassian, but Chewbacca.
yeah, he's great. Oh, Leia.
I don't know who the second person is, so also Leia.
I think Leia.
This
Dude, I love-
whether you watched a lot of Clone Wars or not.
Well, that would be me.
Yeah.
Honestly, like,
Mandalorian. I know
yeah.
her from the other stuff, but I haven't seen the other stuff.
I mean, she was. I mean, Ahsoka Tano was also in Rebels as well. Like, a pretty prominent character in that.
If
series.
we're thinking of entire arc, I would say Yoda, but I like Ahsoka.
I'm gonna have to go with Ahsoka.
Ooh.
I love her. I love her entire character arc and her build up from, well, I guess a technical youngling / Padawan to a full blown, not really Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
I'm gonna go Yoda.
I'm gonna go with Yoda too.
And Butch.
I'm going to say Yoda, but I do look forward to seeing more.
Ahsoka. Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame you all. Like, I'm not even upset about that. I just have
I
to.
feel like Yoda did more, you know,
Oh, yeah.
but also he's older than Ahsoka.
Well, the other
so,
problem is that I feel like Ahsoka had a lot to do with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So
Pouring out for Ahsoka. Yoda moves on, and we got Padme, or another variation of the Yoda species.
oh, okay.
Grogu's been given more to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they didn't really give Padme a lot, and
I
I'm
mean-
behind Padme, but I feel like didn't Grogu.
I mean, like if you watch the Clone Wars, then Padme was in a lot of the seasons and episodes, but she even had some of her own dedicated episodes, I believe. Yeah, but I mean, I would say Grogu. And
Yeah, we're gonna be full Grogu.
yeah,
7.
Give him 7. Why not?
All right.
Oh man.
dude,
Oh,
really?
not like this.
Oh no.
I was Solo, but I also want to say shout out to Ahmed Best and shame on the people who conflated Jar Jar with that man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Ahmed Best is a great man. He's a great actor, but as a character, Han Solo. I mean,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones in space. Yeah, it's
Han Solo has more going on, but I liked Jar Jar more than Han Solo. I can respect Han Solo, but I like Jar Jar more.
I like Jar Jar just because of the fact that of what he did in the movies
Yeah.
was hilarious. He was always one of those comedic reliefs. If something that was serious.
But he would also stumble into like
Yeah.
helping by
Yeah.
accident, which
I'm
was
gonna have to say Solo though. Like,
Thank you.
no. I know that like cool. Han is cool, but like Jar Jar Binks
yeah.
is
I
just
just don't want
I
to be
love
the type
Jar Jar.
of the heartbreaker and
I
that's
see that story arc where
glad that Han is moving on. I'm also
Yeah,
glad
have you
that Jar
seen-
Jar got a vote.
Jar Jar being the Sith Lord. Maybe
Yeah,
so.
I've seen that.
Ooh.
Oh. Oh, dude.
This is a tough one. It's somebody who's a cooler looking character versus someone who did cooler stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boba Fett in the, yeah, he's either a child or he's practically not in
Or a guy that bumbles himself into a
Sarlacc pit, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
it comes out,
and ends up being a good guy.
and yeah. And Jen, we only get for one thing. I'm going Jen Erso.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with a Boba Fett shirt on, saying Jen Erso.
I mean, I liked Boba Fett in the Clone Wars, like that one little trilogy arc of him trying to kill Mace Windu
Yeah.
was actually really good. But I mean, besides that, getting eaten by a Sarlacc is kind of lame. Like,
Well,
so,
that, like
But he comes back and does all that cool stuff.
yeah,
everything that everybody liked about Boba Fett was literally made up in their heads,
Yeah.
and then they wrote about it because he's not anything. He's just a cool looking dude who
yeah,
has 4 lines and a cool ship.
I think
But
it's
other, there's not, except for the new stuff, there wasn't much there except like that dude's cool, and he was in the
Yeah.
Christmas special. He wrote a creature. So yeah, I'm gonna say Jen.
I'm gonna say Jen too.
Is that unanimous, Jessica?
yes. I said it, but I didn't know if you heard me or not.
All right.
I think that's our shocking
Yeah.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, there's our
Oh.
Why, dude?
It's got to be Luke. I'm sorry to see Mace
Yeah.
out of here so
Yes.
quickly.
Like, see Mace get thrown out of a window for a second time.
Oh man.
Rip Mace.
Yeah, Luke.
I guess
It's Luke.
Luke.
Does someone want to throw
Dude,
a
the
vote
purple
out of
lightsaber.
respect?
Does someone want to what?
Throw a vote Mace's way out of respect?
Sure, I will. I'll say Mace Windu. I love that character so much. He's just so cool.
He's a great character, right?
The fact that these two are the next ones we have to vote on makes me sad.
R2 versus Grievous.
Yeah, like that's
R2.
yeah, but I love Grievous.
I mean, Grievous is
I love Grievous.
yeah. I think I liked him more in the Clone Wars than I did in the prequels.
Yeah.
That for sure.
We had an Xbox game where it was like there were 2 different ones, but it's a fighting game, and I used to play that with my nephew, and I would always pick General Grievous and always just destroy him. Which I'm probably going to send this to him, but I have to do General Grievous out of that principle that I would just demolish him.
I like R2D2 just for a scream as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's General Grievous is a cool guy, but it's got to be
Yeah.
R2.
Yeah, I mean,
R2 is going to win this from the get-go, and he deserves to win it.
Yes.
General Grievous needed a pity vote from me this time.
that's fair. That's fair.
I agree.
In the shadow non-existent losers bracket, Boba Fett, Mace Windu, or General Grievous?
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It's got to be Ray for me.
Yeah, me too.
Who's
I like
That was Woody Harrelson's character.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've got Ray.
yeah. It would have to be Ray.
Lando.
Lando.
This was a great character that they wasted.
They did
Yeah.
waste Finn. They also wasted Poe.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Obi-Wan.
Sorry to Rose. C-3PO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I could agree with that.
This
Mhm.
is
he was a great pilot, but yeah.
Mando.
Mando.
Yeah, Mando. Like, BB-8 was cute, but that was about it.
Maybe
Honestly.
it was just a bowling ball.
I like when he gave a thumbs up with his lighter.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Darth Maul.
Darth
Yeah.
Maul.
Dude, Darth Maul and Clone Wars is just
Yeah, and knowing
Oh,
about what happens to him
and-
later on.
give it to
And
me.
the fact that he literally defeated Qui-Gon Jinn in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He also defeats him in the bracket. Yeah.
yeah.
So round one, most robbed, going to Mace Windu.
Yeah,
I feel like
probably.
that's fair.
All right, moving on to the next round.
Oh, always two there are.
It's Vader
Yeah.
for me.
It's got to
Yeah.
be Vader.
Vader. Yeah.
Oh,
Chewie.
yeah, I like
Still makes me choke up.
probably
after
Chewie.
Harry
I
died.
like Chewbacca.
I'm going Chewie because Leia didn't give him a medal.
Yeah. Right? Like
That's actually a good point. Yeah.
disrespectful.
Where was she gonna pin it to?
He
You do a ribbon.
Tied his hair with like a rubber band or something and just put it on
Bandolier.
that.
You could just hang it
Before
on
you
that-
enter
Yeah,
the
right.
never falls
hang it
out.
on the bowcaster.
Chewie wins. What was your answer? Bliss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Chewie.
Ooh.
Yoda.
It's Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda.
Yoda.
And
Well,
Grogu's
we would have put him in there as baby Yoda.
yeah.
Ooh.
Han Solo.
Probably Han Solo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I like Jyn Erso as a character, but Han is just
Yeah.
He did so
It's
much
just
more.
a
than
better
he
version
was.
of Han.
Yeah. More
I wish
ruthless.
like if they came out with like maybe a story arc for Jyn, maybe that would be a good idea. But
Yeah. She might be in the next season of Andor. I mean, that would make sense.
that's a good point. Yeah, she might be.
Couple breakaway
some
episodes.
flash sideways. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. I might change my opinion then after that.
Yeah. Same.
Luke.
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 Yeah.
I kick me better. But, yeah. Although unless it's Han against Chewie,
then,
then it's
then we'll discuss that when we
Oh
get.
my god, is it might be Han against Chewie.
Oh no. Ray or Lando?
Ray-
Lando.
Well,
I
I
like
feel like
Lando.
Ray did more, but I like Lando more
Well,
than
technically,
Ray.
she was the main character of one of the
Yeah.
movies, or like all the movies.
Yeah.
But like, I just like Lando's personality. Honestly,
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
just enjoyable to watch him on screen and just hear him talk. Honestly,
chewing up the scenery and
yeah. But I'm not Lando.
And also Donald Glover.
Okay,
So Lando should get it.
if we had no. Now after this is over, I want to hear your your deep story.
Obi-Wan, C-3PO.
It's
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. I actually really liked his series.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
I like the fight scene.
Fitting that R2
Like-
and C-3PO
Like,
got out of the same
fight
round.
scene
Yes.
was
Yeah.
very good.
Oh, dude.
Maul.
That's
I'm
tough.
going Maul.
I'm going Mando.
I'm gonna go Mando because I'm enjoying his story more.
Yeah.
I'll join Nathan with Darth Maul.
Oh no.
Oh, Paul, here it goes.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't seen The Mandalorian, so
Oh.
I'm.
Oh no.
What is wrong with you?
Oh, how are you gonna mediate this?
I wasn't planning on being the tiebreaker. There's just so many Star Wars fans here. I'm just
Yeah,
hosting
yeah,
the
that's
bracket.
true.
I shouldn't have to vote at all, but here I am. Okay. I mean, do you guys want to fight it out among yourselves, or have me decide by default?
Now, I want you to decide.
Okay. I
You better
could.
really you better think about it because
All
like
right.
I can get to your desk faster than you can.
So, Darth Maul looks cooler. I haven't seen The Mandalorian, but Pedro, I love him from The Last of Us. So,
By the
I'm
transitive
making a
property.
decision based on that. So, man,
That's okay.
Oh, dude.
The results under protest, but
I mean,
fine.
hey, I can retract that vote, and you guys can stay here all day until you make a decision.
no, I like both characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I'm not saying that I don't like,
I
Mandalorian.
need to sneeze.
But
It's okay.
it's just Darth Maul.
Although Maul rhymes with Paul, so Darth Paul.
Hey, that's something to think about.
Old Darth Paul is going to show up the library for you
I've already
guys.
made my decision. All right, moving on. Final 8.
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Sorry to Chewie.
Darth Vader.
Respectable Chewie in top 8.
I will say Chewbacca had a better death. Well, I guess it's not really his death anymore.
Yeah, I got retconned. Yeah.
No.
Yoda or Han?
Yoda.
Whoever wins
I
this.
go Yoda too, just for the more respect and the best.
Yeah.
I'm saying Han, 'cause he got up to some shenanigans we never saw.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would you say, Nathan?
I said Yoda.
Okay.
Yeah, Yoda was pretty boring up until he went nuts in the swamp.
Yoda was pretty great in the animated stuff, though, too.
Yeah, he was actually a very good character in all
Come on,
the
Yoda.
All right. Han out with Chewie, top 8.
Yoda did he did stand up to Palpatine.
Yeah,
Got away with his life, so
pretty formidably as well.
Saved by Chewie.
yeah.
Luke.
Luke.
Luke,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you're talking main characters here. We're getting down to
Yeah.
Obi-Wan or Mandalorian?
Dude. I'm gonna have to go with Obi-Wan. He created Darth Vader. He finally killed Maul. Like,
Twice, technically.
just
Yeah.
after the second time, I guess. But like Obi-Wan's also just his personality in the movies and also in the shows as well are just hilarious.
So I like Mando more only because I feel like Obi-Wan's show was okay, but it took, I think, until like the 4th episode for me to like get into it.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to watch Mandalorian and get into it.
Honestly, I yeah, that's fair. I definitely want to argue.
go with Obi-Wan too, just for the sheer fact that there's more story with him, and I
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah.
any of the story has been bad.
Yeah,
fair.
that's also fair.
No, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd go Obi-Wan too.
All right, moving on to the final 4. Out of those that got out in that round, Chewbacca, Han Solo, Lando, or Mandalorian, who would you put as the number 5?
Chewie,
Chewie.
Probably Chewie, yeah.
Chewie,
Yeah.
I would definitely have
Does
to
it
think.
say Lando's 23 on the
2013.
list?
He was a little down on the seating because of screen time.
Oh,
But,
that makes sense.
He made a good run though.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
this was the lowest seed in top 8. The other seeds in top 8 were all made top 8
Yeah.
or top 8 seed. Ray was the top 8 seed that didn't make top 8. All right, final 4. Which were the final 4 seeds?
These are bad matchups we got.
Oh,
It's still Vader for me.
Still Vader for me too.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's just nothing you can really say. Like,
Yoda doesn't have a chance. And
No.
That's sad for Yoda. Sorry, Yoda.
yeah,
This was really a bracket of who's going to go against Darth Vader in the finals.
Yeah, pretty much though. Like,
yeah.
All right, and that's either going to be Luke or Obi-Wan.
You know what's funny is both of those people defeated Darth Vader.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like whoever wins this might be the overall winner.
Technically, Obi-Wan defeated him twice.
Yeah.
Or 3 times. Twice.
Yeah, I think twice.
It was twice, but he was ultimately killed by Darth Vader, and then Luke freed Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with Luke.
Yeah, that's.
Same.
Yeah.
I think Luke has more going on too
Yeah.
outside of just the original trilogy.
Yeah,
I just growing
Oh,
up,
no,
I saw Luke.
very prominent.
It was I'm like, dusty old man.
Who's our
Yeah.
honorary third place, Yoda or Obi-Wan?
Yoda for me.
It's gonna have to be Obi-Wan for me.
I'm also Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I'd say Obi-Wan.
All right. Shout outs to Yoda and fourth. So Obi-Wan third. They both hit their seeds, but that brings us to our grand finals. It's Vader or Luke.
Vader.
Dude, it's just like so much of Star Wars is revolved around Vader.
Yeah.
Like I just have to go Vader. Like he's such a very well written character.
I'm gonna have to agree.
Like even Anakin Skywalker to an extent as well. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Vader. He's just a more complex character, whereas
Yeah.
Luke is
the
the
dynamic too.
hero.
Yeah, Anakin Skywalker was the hero and the villain and the hero again and the villain.
Darth Vader did not lose.
Nope.
Yep. Here's our standings.
Yeah.
The top 12. Anything we disagree with there?
That's it. Around.
Pretty solid.
Sad that R2 should be in there more than C3PO.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
Yeah.
too. Like yeah, R2 should be
Yeah.
at least in the top 10.
These 9 through 16 are all technically actually a tie. 'Cause they
Okay.
Oh, I see.
won one, lost one. So, and then 5th through 8th are also technically a tie. But you guys chose Chewbacca as number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with R2 being pretty high on that
I would
list.
almost put Chewbacca higher than Yoda, personally. I feel like Chewbacca.
Honestly, that is a hot take I am willing to accept too.
Yeah,
Because
I would
like,
say, like that's
like
all I'm getting from us doing this debate is I like a lot of the non-human characters like Jar Jar and Chewbacca and Yoda and like General Grievous. Like I don't know what that says about me that I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, I like
They're cooler to me though. Like you can pick anything and you're gonna pick to be a human and like there's so many things you could be in Star Wars.
yeah.
I feel like it'd be so boring to go on set and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna be a human today. You could be
Today.
yeah, right? I mean they probably use it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, all the props and I'm assuming like all the people in the canteen or something are probably the same people, just in different makeup and costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to look at Warwick Davis, who's been, I don't know, a dozen different aliens in Star Wars.
Yeah. That's fair. I don't know. I'm happy with that result.
I think that's
Good
fair.
lineup. Well, good job, guys. You at least on the character bracket stayed pretty in line with the general public sentiment, but have some fun little upsets in there. Rest in peace, Darth Maul and Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'm not sad about Darth Maul.
But they had tough brackets.
Yeah, that is true.
Single elimination's tough, but you know. Well, and then movie-wise, definitely had an upset there. Rogue One is your favorite Star Wars movie. Empire Strikes Back second.
I just feel like I could watch that movie
Yeah.
so many times and still not get bored of it, or just see something else that I never noticed to start with.
I want to
I
watch
mean,
it.
I'm probably going to watch it tonight. We've mentioned it too many times. It's Beetlejuiced its way into my
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like burned up there.
Yeah.
You got to watch it or it's going to stay.
So my homework is to watch The Mandalorian.
That's good
Have you-
homework to have.
Yeah, you should. It's a good series.
Have you watched Andor?
Nope, I haven't seen any of the shows.
Maybe I'll start Andor tonight.
Yeah, y'all should watch
Maybe that's
Andor.
what we do.
It's good.
I might watch Andor after I get done watching Rogue One.
Burnt it all. I'm stumbling tomorrow, all high on Andor.
Hey, that's not a bad thing to be high on.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
it's a very good piece of media.
Fight the Empire.
So, audience,
Yeah.
library patrons, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let us know what your thoughts are, favorite Star Wars movies and characters, and what episode you want to see library staff discuss next time. We'll be back in June with a new episode. So for you four, before we go, I want to hear from you some final thoughts and what you want to see from the future of the Star Wars franchise.
I want to see more shows with no Jedi.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a galaxy far, far away, but yet it's the same 20 or 30 people in every movie. So I want to see some non-Skywalkers, some non-Palpatines, just average, everyday Joes living through the galaxy and doing their thing.
Was there a character in this bracket that you would like to get their own special or anthology film or series?
I feel like
So he still lives.
Some more Andor.
The world's biggest back to take.
Hey, Darth Maul show would be pretty cool.
yeah.
I'd like to see is in between before his brother found him. Or, I'm sorry, after his brother found him and kind of before he was killed in Rebels, like I guess the Clone Wars was pretty short time frame technically. So there was a lot of time there that a lot of things could have happened.
I'm going to stay mad about episode 9 only having like maybe 15 seconds of Ewoks while they were on Endor. I would like to see more Ewok media. It's really all I have to ask for, because I feel like with CGI at the point that it's at now, they could do a really cool Ewok show similar to the Christmas special. And the 80s cartoon is on Disney Plus, and it's awesome. It's so great. It's so good.
I still want to punch Ewok.
They're like the size of little kids. You can't just punch. They're porgs. Porgs are dumb. I hate porgs.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that, but
Yeah.
Ewoks are just like they look
just
like
little guys that
they look like
wear
fluffy.
skulls. That's really cool. They're horrible little creatures, and they're awesome. I love them.
They look like fluffy, like exercise balls to me. Like that's
I bet
something
they
I can hunt.
great.
So
Think of tree village full of wet dogs.
Yeah.
yeah.
How bad an Ewok village would smell, though. Like,
Oh no,
you'd
I don't even
smell
want to
it
think about that.
as soon as you got off your ship. It'd be bad.
Oh, I know where we
So
are.
bad.
I want to see different stuff. I want to see, don't spoon feed me like my own nostalgia back to me over and over again.
Yeah.
Just show me
Yeah.
some different stories and just
Yeah, like making new stories.
I want to see directors with strong visions doing strong vision movies.
There's a lot of characters they could really, flesh out basically. Like I'm trying to think of I do not remember his name.
You talking about like a Ben Quadinaros kind of situation?
You worked it in. You worked it in.
Something like that, yeah.
I want to see Quadinaros, a Star Wars story. That's the next movie I want to see.
So Butch brought up a good point on the nostalgia being fed to you. So what do you think the kids these days are going to be nostalgic for if they're just they only know modern Star Wars? Is there a certain character they're going to gravitate towards that maybe is really minor now, but it's just going to have this oversized legacy, kind of like Boba Fett does? So when they're adults and parents, and are they going to go to a movie and be like, oh, that's a reference to this thing from Force Awakens. Loved it.
The only character that I could maybe think of would just be like it's probably from Rogue One, like Andor.
Or the cartoon stuff. Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Ahsoka will probably be the next big breakout.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
I think
with that.
Ahsoka's also a really big deal because, like, there was Leia, there was Padme, there was Rey, but like Ahsoka, I feel like embodies more of, not really needing to rely on somebody and like having to rely on yourself. And that's a big deal for a lot of kids right now. I think that one will be really good. I think it said it's coming out in August. I think it's when they're projecting it to be on Disney Plus, but
it was the final season of the Clone Wars was definitely one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars media, just because of the story arc of Ahsoka they brought out. Like, it was very well done, and also you got to see a lot of Coruscant too, and the under levels. I really like that.
Yeah.
So just more of that would be great.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for participating. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hope
Yeah.
everybody enjoyed watching as well. And Adam, I'm going to give you the final word. It's not always that we have the library director on library podcasts. So
Sure. I'll leave it with a famous Star Wars quote to make sure everybody's happy and placated. May the Schwartz be with you.
And on that note,
Nice. Pull the Gandalf quote.